So this is the part A of the Baby Angel Geronimo editions of Khoodeelaar television channel being broadcast on the internet at 0650 GMT on Thursday, the 24th of August 2023. What have we got there? We've got number of items that are really seriously embarrassing for the proponents of British values. So updates will be in the broadcast, but here is a summary that some of the latest items doing the rounds in the current news hour in the UK running orders include British Museum thefts. The had gone on for more than 20 years. And the acting keeper of Greek collections, notice that one. Greek collections, can you believe that? At the British Museum is reported to have been implicated in allegations that items stolen from the British Museum were being sold on eBay, amongst other places. And the Times London, carrying the detailed copy on the thefts, carefully, intentionally, criminally avoids putting any focus on the bigger crime, which is wrongly, grandly called the British Museum, which is nothing of the sort. The British Museum is made of stolen resources from other countries all over the world. The corrupt British regulator, a sick joke, that word in context, the regulator, called the Charity Commission, in its prostitute role, has published a critical report on a charitable organization, Care for Calais, which is supposed to be about compassionate reception and support for migrants seeking asylum and setting off to cross the channel from Calais. The Evila, Cruella, Suella, Fernandes. Fernandes is a Portuguese throwback, and it's the Goa, which is off the mainland of India. She jumps on the Charity Commission report that is critical of the Care for Calais charity. While the Evila, Cruella, Suella Fernandez has been staying silent on some of the biggest issues involving millions, hundreds of millions, or billions of pounds of values caused by the criminality that dominates the London Metropolitan Police. The London Metropolitan Police has shamelessly dropped the inquiry into King Brian, so called ex aide Fawcett, over Fawcett's role in soliciting more Saudi Arabian cash in return for King Brian agreeing to raise the elevation level of a Saudi briber called Mahfouz, who is desperately seeking British citizenship and British establishment entry. On the next item is about Crook Nasty, racist Nigel Nasty Farage, attacking the NatWest for paying more than £2 million to former manager, chief executive. Now, as is well known, at least to those who care to find out the evidence in the background concerning Nigel Nasri Farage being under investigation for several years for falsifying the expenses claim while he was enrolled as an elected member of the European Parliament. It is incredible that all the British media Fleet Street that has been covering, giving platform to Nigel Nasri Farage over his false claim that he was singled out by the bank, Coutts Bank, because of his political activities. Nigel Nasri Farage is a fraudster well known to Fleet Street, which for ideological reasons has allowed Nigel Nasri Farage a blank check, to coin a phrase. In his pursuit that is Nigel Nasri Farage's pursuit of glorification for himself and political martyrdom for himself. In fact, this whole campaign about him being debanked by the Coutts Bank clearly has been helping him keep afloat an image of an innocent individual. While the truth is, has been and will remain for a very long time, the Nigel Nasri Farage has stolen money, millions of pounds, while pretending to be critical of the European Union. And the fact that Nigel Nasri Farage has not been acted against, the, the fact that he has not been indicted, is not a mystery either. Because the fascist authoritarian, to use the term used by the Economist Weekly in its 5-year world values report, the Nigel Nasri Farage has been known as being guilty of deception, fraud, and lying on every single material item and ground. The reason why he has not been indicted is because indicting him would have indicted, exposed big fish in the British corrupt capitalist establishment. And it is those big fish that have been actually protecting him, shielding him. It is not true to say that Nigel Nasri Farage scares the living daylight out of the Conservatives. That's not the case. Nigel Nasri Farage is a colluder. He is a complicit colluder with the big criminals in the Conservative Party, or the big criminals that operate and control the Conservative Party. The fact that Nigel Nasri Farage was at one point reported to have been beating the opinion polls, ratings, surveys beating the Conservatives, is again a lie. Because if Nigel Nasty Farage genuinely had got credible political electoral support in the United Kingdom, Nigel Nasty Farage would have been a member of parliament for a very long time already. But he has not been elected, despite the fact that he has been contesting the parliamentary elections quite a few times. The fact that he has not been elected shows that he really isn't electorally as formidable as the propaganda promoting his image keeps claiming. Nigel Nasty Farage was so completely overhyped in the run up to the June 2016 referendum over the UK's future membership in the United European Union that the likes of already previously proven was the fact that George Galloway repeatedly published defense of begging Nasty Nigel Farage to give him a seat to contest shows the stupidity of George Galloway, the political dishonesty of George Galloway, and the total, absolute lack of substance on the part of Nigel Nasty Farage. Because neither of them made the mark at the election that was in question when George Galloway was begging Nigel Nasty Farage to give him a seat to contest on behalf of Nigel Nasty Farage's so called party. And you'll notice that in the public publicity that Nasty Farage has been garnering for himself for the last 2-3 months, that publicity has been at the expense of the real financial economic crisis affecting millions of ordinary people in the United Kingdom. Nigel Nasty Farage has not addressed the issue of why there are so many people in poverty in the United Kingdom, nor has he been challenged on why he hasn't addressed that issue. Secondly, if he says that he has been discriminated against by the Coutts Bank or any other operation controlled by the National Westminster banking system, then what he is saying, in effect, is that contrary to the mythology that he is against woke, He, in fact, is a worse oak than the ordinary oaks that he profits from attacking. So Nigel Nasri Farage has behaved as a parasite, which is exactly what he has been for more than 30 years. Nigel Nasri Farage has not got elected to member to the House of Commons, and it is unlikely that he will get elected. And even if he were to get elected, which is not impossible, but so far it has proved to be impossible, even if he were to get elected a member of parliament and for any length of time, it is impossible to see any significant difference in the quantity or the quality or the substance of his contribution, because by all accounts, Nigel Nasri Farage has been given platform that no other individual British politician has ever been given. And as I said many times years ago, Nigel Nasri Farage should be exposed for the fraud that he is, the fraudster that he is. And if the fraudulent career he has been operating is revealed to the public, Nigel Nasri Farage will leave public life as it has been known so far, because he will be devoid, shorn of the basic criteria for credibility. The other thing that the rest of Fleet Street hasn't done and can do is the corruption So the question that arises from the fact that Suela Cruella Ivila Fernandez has jumped on the Charity Commission's report about the Care for Calais charity, instead of addressing the latest revelations about the corruption and criminality going on within the London Metropolitan Police. Because the London Metropolitan Police has admitted having actively imposed policemen who are rapists. Now, this is not a minor issue. This is a very serious issue. If the police force, the biggest one in all of UK, has got active police men in post who are also rapists, then it leaves no room for any excuse by anyone about anything that can justify the rapists, sex offenders being in any post in the London Metropolitan Police at all. Not two posts, but even one post is one too many. Just to refer to the mass murder of babies at the Chester Hospital, the doctors there have demanded that there should be a separate regulator, a watchdog, for hospital manager, NHS bosses. Now, isn't it ridiculous? It is quite obvious, logical expectation that such watchdog functions and duties would have been already part of the organizational operations in NHS institutions, including the Countess of Chester Hospital, which is grandly named. The police have no watchdog. The NHS executives and management have no watchdog. Government ministers have no watchdog like Suella, Ivila, Cruella, Fernandez. Members of parliament really do not have a watchdog. And worst of all in all of this is the absence of a watchdog to examine critically the continuous lack of ethics, continuous lack of morality, continuous lack of fairness that dominates the actual outlook, the attitude of members of the judiciary. This particular paragraph that I've just spoken is a spontaneous ad hoc one. It's not extempore one. It's not something that I had written down, but based on my thoughts over a long period. And it's consistent with the rest of my thinking. In the previous edition, we talked about the report based on the American news website Unheard, UNHERD, revealing that Tony Belaya, the criminal, had been paid under the cover of a donation $39 million, or $33 million, whatever the amount that is contained in the private lie edition. $59 more million is pending. Pending what? Pending what is not explained, but that's what is stated in the piece that Private Lie runs. So to do a roundup again of daily topical items that constitute the foundation for evidential judgment justification, calling it the Baby Angel Geronimo platform or Baby Angel Geronimo editions. There is no justice in the United Kingdom government departments. There is no justice in the behavior of members of parliament, let's say, for example, currently doing the rounds, namely Nadine Dorries. Nadine Dorries, by all accounts, is not supported by even the conservatives to continue to remain in post as a member of parliament at the expense of mid Bedfordshire in England. Nadeem Dorries is defying calls for her to resign. But the fact that she has not resigned, the fact that there is no sign that she will resign if she can hang on until the next election, shows that there is nothing within the unwritten constitution of the United Kingdom that can be done to compel a member of parliament, which is what Nadine Dorries is fully entitled to call herself. The fact that she is refusing and the fact that she cannot be removed shows this weird kind of power that once elected a person as an MP assumes a kind of power that nobody else can have if they are not members of parliament, and that she is remaining in the post, quite openly defying the calls for her to resign. And the fact that she has been the subject of so many demands and calls for her to resign as member of parliament for Mid Bedfordshire shows that there is a lot of people, both in that constituency and also outside, who are totally, absolutely clear as to the fact that she is not wanted. But she is not she cannot be removed, gives her an all powerful position, which reminds me of the series of communications that I had with the House of Commons Inquiry or Information Office, especially focusing on the issue of whether a member of parliament can ignore correspondence coming to them from members of the public in the constituency that they sit as MPs in the name of. And the information that the Information Office in the House of Commons gave me, and I'm saying that specifically because I found that information completely astonishing, is that no MP can be forced to even acknowledge communications they receive from electors in their constituency, let alone to reply, let alone to do anything. This is the bigger scandal of the political dysfunction in the United Kingdom than all the other individual dysfunctions that have afflicted the United Kingdom over the last decades. And this is also a point that I need to make about the contextual examination of the actual evidence, the behavior of the countries that became, quote, independent on the 15th and 14th and 15th of August 1947. What did Thomas Babington Macaulay, what did Macaulay say about the literature and the languages of the people of Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh? Of course, Pakistan didn't exist when Macaulay was spewing, nor did India in that sense, nor most certainly Bangladesh at that time. Because he said, Macaulay, that he had studied the Arabic language, the Sanskrit language, amongst others. And he couldn't find any substance, any moral, ethical quality in them. And he rejected the Arabic language as well, which is a very serious offense because the Holy Quran is in the Arabic language. And any number of commentators, linguists, and experts before and since the criminal racist moron Macaulay have readily and happily and without any complication accepted that the actual contents of the Holy Quran are absolutely unlike any other language or any other text in any other language, and that the contents of the Holy Quran are unique by all criteria of language and linguistic aesthetics. The Holy Quran is, let's say, written in uniquely powerful language that cannot be found in any other language whatsoever, in any other part of time or the contemporary period either. For example, this one, Innal batila kana zahuka. This is such a concise and truthful statement of the truth that it may sound tempting to be found in comparison in other languages, but it cannot be because innal batila kana zahuka is such a forceful, powerful, the intonation and the actual kind of integrity that a person not necessarily well versed but otherwise impressed by this language may give in to that propensity to compare the contents of the Holy Quran with the contents of any other book of religion. And if they did that, if they actually embarked on any comparison, they will be indeed disappointed. Innal batila kana zahuqa. Innal batila kana zahuqa. Indeed, falsehood is doomed to perish. وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. Every single verse in the Holy Quran is emphatic in an unprecedented way. No other book of religion that has preceded the Holy Quran can be found to contain any similar expression. When they went around the world and stole things like the Elgin marbles, like the Kohinoor in the subcontinent, the Kohinoor, of course, belonged to the Muslim kind of rulers. And both the Elgin marbles and the Kohinoor are there in the British control. The British don't own the marbles or the Kohinoor. We shall be continuing with the other updates in due course.